Before takeout containers and microwave dinners, before everyone scattered to different rooms with different screens, there was one ritual that quietly held American families together. Dinner at the table, every night, same time, same place. And in 1960s America, family dinner was not optional. It was expected. If you walked into a typical home around 5:30 or 6 in the evening, you would smell it before you saw it. Roast in the oven, meatloaf resting on the counter, fried chicken crackling in a cast iron skillet. The kitchen was warm, sometimes too warm in the summer. Windows open, screen door slamming, the sound of a television humming faintly in the living room, but it would be turned off soon. Dinner was not eaten in front of the television. Not in 1963. Not in 1965. The television might be on for the evening news later, but when dinner was ready, someone would call out from the kitchen, "Wash up, it's time." Most families ate in a dining room if they had one, a wooden table, 4 chairs, maybe 6 if grandparents lived nearby or visited often. If there was no formal dining room, then it was the kitchen table. Oilcloth or vinyl tablecloth. Salt and pepper shakers in the center, a napkin holder, sometimes a small vase with artificial flowers. The table was set properly. Plates stacked neatly, fork on the left, knife and spoon on the right, glasses for milk or water, paper napkins during the week, cloth napkins on Sunday. The mother had usually been cooking for an hour or more. Many women did not work outside the home, and dinner was part of their daily rhythm. Around 4 o'clock, preparation began. Potatoes peeled and boiled, canned green beans heated on the stove, biscuits baked from scratch or from a metal tube that popped when you twisted it open. Meals were simple but filling. Meat was the center of the plate. Families often served a beef roast with carrots and potatoes. Pork chops came with applesauce. Baked ham was garnished with pineapple rings, held in place with toothpicks and maraschino cherries. Meatloaf was topped with a ketchup glaze. Fried chicken was reserved for Sundays. Side dishes were predictable. Mashed potatoes with a well in the center for gravy, buttered corn, peas, green beans. Sometimes a Jell-O salad with fruit suspended inside, shimmering under the kitchen light. Iceberg lettuce salad with bottled French or Thousand Island dressing. Bread was always present. Dinner rolls brushed with butter, white sandwich bread, cornbread in cast iron. No artisan loaves, no sourdough starters, just soft, familiar bread to mop up gravy. Drinks were milk for the kids, whole milk, sometimes chocolate milk as a treat, iced tea for the adults in the South, water or maybe a soda on special occasions. Alcohol was not usually part of weekday family dinner, though some fathers had a highball before sitting down. And then there were the rules. You waited until everyone was seated. Sometimes a short prayer was said. Heads were bowed, thankful for the food and for the day. Then plates were passed. Serving bowls moved clockwise. You took a portion and passed it on. Children were expected to sit still with their elbows off the table and to chew with their mouths closed. They were to ask to be excused and not to complain about what was served. You ate what was put in front of you. The phrase "clean your plate" was common. Food was not wasted. Conversation mattered. Fathers often asked about school. What did you learn today? Any homework? Mothers might remind everyone about upcoming church events or family plans. Teenagers sometimes answered with one-word responses, but they were still required to sit there. Politics might come up, the space race, the news about Vietnam as the decade progressed, local happenings. But most nights it was ordinary talk about grades, neighbors, and plans for the weekend. Dinner moved at a slower pace. No one rushed off immediately. Seconds were offered, more gravy, another roll. The meal could last 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes longer on Sundays. Sunday dinner was different, bigger, more formal. After church, families gathered, grandparents joined, Aunts and uncles sometimes stopped by. The good dishes came out. China was reserved for special days. A table extended with leaves to make room for everyone. The meal might include a larger roast, turkey even when it was not Thanksgiving. Homemade pies cooling on the counter, apple, cherry, lemon meringue with peaks browned carefully in the oven. Dessert was not guaranteed every night during the week, but on Sunday it was expected. Cake from a mix, banana pudding layered in a glass dish, Jell-O with whipped topping. Kids waited patiently, sometimes not so patiently. There was a rhythm to clearing the table. Children carried plates to the sink. Mothers washed dishes by hand, or loaded an early dishwasher if the house had one. Fathers might retreat to the living room to read the newspaper. The evening shifted into its next phase. But something important happened at that table before the dishes were cleared. It was where discipline happened, where praise happened, where announcements were made. If a child was in trouble at school, it came out at dinner. If a child made the honor roll, it was celebrated there too. The dinner table was the family meeting place long before anyone used that phrase. Not every family experience was perfect. Some dinners were quiet, some tense, some filled with arguments. The 1960s were not a television fantasy, but the structure was consistent. Dinner together was the anchor point of the day. As the decade moved forward, small changes began to appear. Frozen television dinners in aluminum trays became more common, especially on busy nights. You could slide one into the oven and eat on a folding tray in front of the television. It felt modern, convenient, a little rebellious. But even then, many families still gathered at the table most nights. Fast food existed, but it was not yet routine. Eating out was occasional. Dinner at home remained the default. There were no smartphones buzzing, no group texts, no one checking notifications under the table. If the phone rang during dinner, it was often ignored. Whoever was calling could wait. What defined family dinner in the 1960s in America was not the menu. It was the expectation, the shared time, the idea that at least once a day, everyone paused and sat together in the same room. The smells were specific. Gravy thickening on the stove, yeast rolls rising, the faint scent of cigarette smoke drifting in from another room, the clink of silverware against ceramic plates, the scrape of chair legs on linoleum. For children who grew up in that era, the memories are vivid. The pattern of the tablecloth, the sound of a parent's voice asking about your day, the feeling of being required to sit there, even when you wanted to be somewhere else. Looking back now, it feels structured, slower, maybe stricter, but also more connected in ways that are hard to recreate. Family dinner in the 1960s in America was not just about food, it was about presence. Routine, a daily reset before the evening began, and once it was over, you knew exactly what came next. Homework, dishes, the evening news, maybe a favorite show if it was the right night. But first, you sat at that table. Do you remember what dinner at your house was like in the 1960s? Or what stories have you heard from your parents about it? Share your memories in the comments.